walk-up music. Like being in the big leagues here. So make sure this is going. Sherry said she was going to take the lights down. So, and I believe she put me after the break so everybody could get a big cup of coffee, because this is probably going to be a little boring. So we'll try that. I can't see anybody. So anyway, thank you so much for having me here today. It's an incredible honor to be here speaking to such a distinguished group of energy professionals. The talent and the experience in this room is just impressive. So if you'll humor me a little bit, I'm gonna kind of talk today through a presentation of really a look back and a look forward, and thinking about how to frame some of these discussions around energy in California. So a lot of times we kind of go straight to the point of arguing the specific topic. So I want to kind of take a little bit of a journey back, if you'll humor me. So petroleum, it's a vital California resource. Everything you see here on the slide, these great cities, bridges, majestic views, is really built on petroleum being a building block of California. Petroleum's provided a lot of energy that helped grow and develop California. And the industry, in just a short period of time, has continued to evolve and grow as we move forward through the development in California. And we believe that California Petroleum will be a vital part of this energy solution going forward. So California has compelling energy needs. We're the 5th largest economy. We drive 330 billion miles a year. This has the largest, busiest port in the nation, with over 1/3 of the traffic coming into that. We're the wealthiest state, but we also have the highest poverty rate. And so California is kind of an enigma. We've got a reputation for being a leader. When you think about California, what do you think of? You think of Hollywood, entertainment, you think of technology, you think of Silicon Valley, you think about environmental policies. But really, petroleum is the engine that helped grow this economy. So where we're at now, if you kind of look at today's situation, we're an importer of energy. In 2017, we imported 72% of the oil, 90% of our natural gas needs, and 30% of our electricity just to power California. The imported production doesn't apply the same environmental standards as when we can do it here locally within our state. And it enhances our energy security if we can develop it here under the strictest environmental standards and keep our local jobs in California. So petroleum's really improved the lives of California. Many times today, I think we miss that point when we're arguing specific topics. Early discoveries of oil in California, so you can see some of the pictures here, developed schools, families arrived. The petroleum reserves, as they were developed over time, were then reinvested in the state. That helped build leading industries, leading universities, transportation systems that are some of the best in the world. Abundant, available, and affordable energy is what made this state such a great state in the nation. So if I'll go back a little bit in time, kind of late 1800s, early 1900s, you can see the population chart on the left, 2.5 million people. Where were we getting our energy at that time? People weren't tweeting or Facebooking. Your daily existence was finding food. If you were lucky, you had a horse to do some additional work. But the industry started here, finding this petroleum product, using it for early lighting, kerosene, early transportation. And then the first commercial well in California, the Pico number 4 in 1876, kind of started this development. By the 30s, we've got a little over 5 million people in California. We've discovered 5 of the largest 12 fields in the US. And jobs, consistent with what you heard today on the panel, jobs were bringing people to California. They were attracted to these oil centers. And you could see how people were developing around these properties. The industry provided necessary transportation fuel, and it was a feedstock for a lot of our industrial efforts. So you kind of move forward a little bit, kind of into the mid-century. So you got 15 million people in California. We are the home of the largest naval petroleum reserves in our state. And really the petroleum industry here supported the nation's war effort as we were in the World War II time period. Not only that, it really launched the modern shipbuilding industry and the modern aerospace industry through California's working in here to support our nation. At the same time, the industry's going through an evolution. We continue to get better every day. We were learning how to drill deeper wells with less impact. And so as we're finding more fields, we can create more energy for Californians. In the 70s through Y2K, everybody remembers that time when the computers were gonna go off. You have 35 million people in California. You remember in the 70s, kind of the OPEC oil embargo, the gas lines where things were rationed. What we were doing as an industry is harnessing some of this new technology, from CB radios, if people don't know what that is, all the way through new computers to seismic imaging, to where we're developing techniques where we can do seismic and not drill wells to find reservoirs. We can do it less invasively from the surface. And a lot of this development, at the same time was building Silicon Valley. And if you've been up to Silicon Valley, nobody lives in Silicon Valley. They all drive to Silicon Valley. And they drive there on oil. So early 21st century, kind of where we're at. California's energy crisis, boosts California gas production. Remember that point in time. At the same time, the industry's harnessing new technology. We're using smaller footprints, automated rigs, electric rigs, and we have more resources here to meet this growing demand going forward. We're advancing new technology, such as carbon capture. You're going to hear later today, thermal steam. These are all things that we're working on currently, and people don't realize the innovation that's going on in the industry. So Kern County, we have standing in this discussion. We are the leader of energy production. We're the #2 oil producing county in the lower 48, and at the same time, #1 renewable county. We produce over 367,000 barrels a day. We provide 2/3 of the energy to California. We have thriving local economies and jobs. And basically, Kern County has the know-how to lead this nation in a combination of both traditional and renewable energy. So where are we at in terms of our industry? We need every drop of oil that we produce today. Right now, we import 2.5 times more than what we can produce in the state. What this does for us is it increases costs on families. It has a larger environmental footprint when you think of the global impacts, and it risks California jobs. So in the history of our industry, in just the last 30 years, we've gone from importing 5% from these foreign nations to almost 60% of our energy needs come into California this way. But we have the right resources to lessen the dependence on this imported energy. We have world-class petroleum fields. We're just failing to develop these resources efficiently. If you look at the table on the left, we've fallen to #6 in terms of state production of oil and gas. If you look at the top 4, they've been able to more than double their production in the past few years, while we've declined 14%. And what this really does is it creates a chronic deficit of energy needs that California population needs. So just looking out, if you extrapolate a little bit and think about the future, by 2050, we've exported all of our jobs and we're completely reliant on imported energy, which really risks supply disruptions, geopolitical events, that can affect the 5th largest economy in the world. And we heard a lot about it this morning, the jobs. The oil and gas industry provides California with much needed jobs and revenue. 7 of the top 10 Kern taxpayers are energy companies. We contribute $14 billion, or over 22% of the GDP. 40,000 mom and dads work in the industry, and it provides much needed funding for our schools, our communities, our local healthcare systems. And it's really providing these families with good jobs, path to middle class. So we can't get rid of these jobs. We need to protect these as much as we can. Now, we're a part of the solution. Everybody in this room, you heard this morning talking more about the coalition, just looking out, kind of thinking, California population continues to grow up to 50 million people. We need to retain our leadership position in the state. California is going to have to produce additional energy, and it's going to have to be a little bit of all of the above. And we're investing at the highest level of environmental responsibility today. So it's not that we're not doing it, it's just we're under a continual evolution of technologies and techniques. Our industry is built by men and women with ingenuity. You can see it all the way back to the 1800s, where we were trying to find energy, to today, where we're using advanced techniques, data analytics, to get more resources out more effectively. So we'll provide the solutions. In fact, we don't need to be told, we'll create them. We have that experience and expertise to do that. So I want to say that California Resources Corporation here is proud to operate in California. We proudly share the state's commitment to natural resources. We have a proven track record of operating in this state. We apply workforces that are highly skilled, highly technical, and well paid. And then we have wildlife management programs. If you want to see wildlife, you come out to an oil field, because that's where it is. It's not in LA, it's not in San Francisco. So we're really aligned with California's sustainability strategy. In fact, here's some examples of the things that we've been undertaking already, looking at water, how to increase our volume of recycled water. We're looking at renewables and integrating those into our production, reducing methane, and looking at carbon capture, which is a really exciting technique. And we're helping power California's economy. So we're really proud to be providing nearly $1 billion in state, local, and payroll taxes. $735 million goes to the State Land Corporation from the operations that we have down in Long Beach. And $930 million goes to 20,000 mineral and surface owners. So that's important because there's 20,000 people that get checks every month in their mailbox, and a lot of them count on that money to make ends meet and pay bills. So we need to keep doing that. So really, in conclusion, we have the resources. We have some great assets in this state. We have the techniques and know-how, and we're going to continue to innovate to move that forward and advance that. And we can continue being part of that conversation. In fact, Kern County has the standing in that conversation on how to move the state's energy forward. So that's what I have. Thank you.